Let's do something artsy and avant-garde. All I knew to start was I wanted to do something with a splatter effect. There's a few key products you'll need to do that. Pick out a loose pigment. Lots of loose pigments. In any colors you want. Or you can make your own pigments by using a clean mascara wand to shave off the top layer of a pressed eyeshadow. Very key to doing this, you will need a brush kinda like this. You can find this kind of brush at any SFX makeup store because they are usually used for splattering blood or skin texture onto prosthetics, but if there's no stores near you and you can't find it online, you can always try to use any stiff bristled brush, maybe from a craft store or even a hardware store. I've tried this with a toothbrush in the past and I did not get the right effect because the bristles are usually too soft, but if you can make that work, give it a go. And finally, some sort of cosmetic mixing fluid. I'm using 244 fluid, which can be used for a lot of things. I mainly use it in my airbrush to thin out silicone paints, but I would also highly recommend any what are called mixing liquids. Most FX companies make them, and I would recommend either Graftobian or Ben Nye. On a personal note, it's never a good idea to eat peppermint patties and then to drink orange juice. Just don't do it. It's kind of like drinking orange juice right after you brush your teeth. No bueno. So what you want to do is pour a little bit of your cosmetic liquid of choice into a small dish or cup, get your stiff bristled brush wet, and then dip the brush into a pigment. Then holding your brush so that you can rest your thumb at the top of the bristles like this, you want to push down and then run your thumb down the bristles so that the pigment flicks off. Make sure you're aiming the brush where you want the color to land. Try varying how close you hold the brush to your skin for different splatter densities. And then just start doing that anywhere you want, even in your hair, if you're feeling crazy. In between colors, I just wipe the brush off onto a paper towel, or for the darker colors, I would run the brush under water for a few seconds to clean it completely. But there you go, repeat that for each and any color that you want. The beauty of avant-garde looks is that there are no rules and you can make them whatever the heck you want to, so if you want your splatters to all go in the same direction, or you want to do just certain parts of the face, it's totally up to you. Get creative. I would highly recommend trying to use metallic or iridescent colors for this because it looks super cool when it catches the light at different angles. And a quick note, I know mixing liquid isn't exactly the easiest to find and it would be ideal to use, but if not, you could always try using a mixture of glycerin that you find in a drugstore and water. But you don't just want to use water to wet your brush because once the water in the splatter dries and evaporates on the skin, the pigment will brush off easily because it'll basically just be pigment. Mixing liquid is the best to use for this because it will set the makeup so it doesn't rub off or dry as a powder. Because there's no rules with avant-garde, I think the only advice I can give you for this is it's important to know when to keep going and when to stop. I did layers of a lot of different colors, blues, teals, silvers, purples, magentas, greens, navies. I even used some glitter until I thought that I was fully covered in a way that I was happy with, and I will list all of the pigments and glitters that I used down below in the description box. But again, this is up to you and how you want your look to come out. I wanted mine to look really busy without being completely covered, so I decided that this was a good place to stop for the splattering. My color palette for this whole look was centered around this lipstick called Blizted, which is the new one from Melt Cosmetics. It's like Robin's Egg Blue on crack. Then things got weird when I decided, like I often do with avant-garde looks, that I needed makeup tears. I used this perfect white-green iridescent pigment, which is Lumi by Sugarpill, on a regular brush dipped in a lot of mixing fluid to let the pigment run down my face. I would especially recommend Graftobian's mixing liquid for this because it does not contain alcohol like many other mixing liquids, making it safe to use around the eyes. Then I did some greed-style drips down the neck and also around the top and sides of the face. I went over my brows with a purple and navy pigment, but you can use whatever color works with your color palette. And then I decided white lashes would complement this look the best. I used a milk jumbo pencil to blend my natural lashes into the false white ones and also to add white to the waterline. We're missing one last thing. I love me some creepy contacts. I would always recommend putting contacts in before starting your makeup, but I put these in last because they're super hard to see out of, especially in front of bright lights. Seriously, I run into walls with these things in. But there you go. Looks kind of like a statue with iridescent water damage and bird crap on it. Or as someone on Twitter liked to call it, My Little Pony Chainsaw Massacre. I'll go with that one.